Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can sign up for the Shannons Club, and Penrite Oil, offering technical assistance 7 days a week.
Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Classic Restos. Of course, not possible without the continued support from Shannons Insurance and Penrite Oil. Classic vehicles such as these just have to be with Shannons Insurance. And why? They're the best in the business because they support us as enthusiasts as well. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote on 134646. You can even go to their website shannons.com.au, and boy, is there a lot of stuff there awaiting you. You can also sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club, where you can list your car club there or search for a car club there. The Shannons Club really is your garage. Find out more when you see them online at shannons.com.au. And can a magnificent engine and cooling system like this use Penrite Oil and coolants? You betcha. Penrite Oil, Australian made, Australian owned. It's been around since 1926, and it's also available here through distributors in the United States of America. Nice part is too that the Penrite Technical Assistance Team are there to help you 7 days a week. To find out more about Penrite Oil and coolants, visit them online at penrite.com.au. And remember, oil right. Use Penrite. And on this week's episode of Classic Restos, here we are once again for part 2 of 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals here in Pennsylvania, United States of America. And what a year this is in 2014. It stands for just so much. First of all, it's the 40th anniversary for Carlisle Events, the 50th anniversary of the 426 Hemi, the 50th anniversary for the Barracuda, and 100 years of Dodge. So, with all of that in the Mopar goodie bag, again the Chrysler Nationals here at Carlisle stands for a pinnacle event, a world-class show. And that is why any Mopar enthusiast enjoys this chrome away from home weekend. On last week's episode, we started off on the Thursday night at Faulkner Dodge Ram, where over 300 eager participants gathered and had a great time. We saw Steve with his delightful 73 Sebring, Barry with his tough 383 Plymouth. Events manager Ed Bazeski gave us a brief rundown on this year's event, and many more were interviewed with their classic Mopars. It's early in the morning, and already by 9 a.m. there are hundreds of cars placed on the fairgrounds. Over 100 acres is invaded by iron of all models, sizes and outstanding colours, with designs so synonymous to the brand. And now it's time to show you some more. If you're a Mopar gearhead, you'll understand the importance of how popular the Scat Pack was back in the 60s. Group of vehicles that had options dedicated to performance from the Chrysler and Dodge Corporation. How cool is it here at the Carlisle Nationals for 2014 to actually sit in a Hemi Challenger that has been modified with the Scat Pack package? Here I am outside one of my favourite buildings, Building G. This year, again, set up to replicate an old dealership from the 60s. 50th anniversary of the 426 Hemi. And inside here, some of the toughest and the meanest products ever built by Mopar. inside the fantastic building G, we have Walt. How are you, Walt?
I'm doing fine today. How about you, Fletch?
I'm wonderful. 1965 Belvedere, a race Hemi car. Have a look at this. We're talking performance. We're talking the epitome of performance back in the day here. You've got a score car here.
Well, it's a number 5 build of 102 Plymouths, and there were 101 Dodges. So this was, as far as Chrysler guys are concerned, this is the top of the 426 pile. It's an A990 motor. It's got aluminum heads, magnesium intake, aluminum water pump. Yeah. It's got the whole deal. It's a factory lightweight car. It doesn't get any better. And this car was built in a production plant. It wasn't an after the factory deal.
You must be watching this episode thinking, how lucky is this guy? Imagine having this in your collection. Or forget a collection, imagine just having it. We've got the offset intake there, magnesium, 2 4-barrel carbs. Interesting, because NASCAR are only limited to 1. Just quickly on that, Walt, tell us quickly about that.
Well, the reason NASCAR basically was limiting the Hemi at first with a single 4-barrel, but Chrysler came up with a bathtub intake, which is basically a Ram manifold underneath in that big box, and because they had to run a stock production hood without a scoop or anything like that. But
the others could run multiple carbs.
They could at first. Now later on, then it evened out and such like that. But they felt, and it's true, the hemispherical has, they thought, an unfair advantage because it's a more volumetric efficiency engine.
What a period. We look at this car too. Now, we've got some lightweight parts here. We've got Dow Corning glass.
Dow Corning glass. It's got the fenders and doors are 18 thousandths. They're lightweight steel. Reason for that is the super stock cars of 1963 and 4 started using fiberglass and aluminum. Well, National Hot Rod Association came up with no aluminum or no fiberglass. Chrysler said they didn't say that we couldn't have lightweight steel. So my fenders and doors are half gauge metal, 18 thousandths. My front bumper is 40 thousandths. That's a normal thickness of a normal fender, something like that.
This is what I loved about Chrysler and Dodge. They were game enough to do all this fantastic stuff. Inside, we see no back seat. Now, that was a standard thing as well. Even the front seats, the brackets with the holes in them, out of the A100 vans.
Well, it's made by the same company, Bostrom. But our seats fold down for whatever reason, I suppose, so they could put something in the back seat and stuff. But they are the lightest, quote, production seat that you could get in a passenger car in the mid '60s.
With all this power up front, and 1965. Talking of the 727, the Torque Flight Automatic, is that a standard unit? What's going on there? Because I do notice there's no park, Paul.
It's a full manual shift, and there's no park. In fact, the tail shaft doesn't even have a provision for it. And I guess the logic there was they eliminated some weight, and then they had some kind of concern about possibly getting it into park. But it's a unique transmission for that's 203 cars.
Wonderful. Walt, how good has it been talking to a guy like this? It's been an absolute pleasure. I love this car. It's a concourse car. It's not just a race car. This car has been restored how many years ago?
Well, I bought the car 31, but I've been collecting parts for 46 years. So this car, I had 3 lightweight fenders, brand new. I've had a collection of parts that were pretty strong. So
this is a brand new car. It's a trophy-winning car. It would snap necks no matter where it went. And it's been a pleasure having you on today's show. Thank you, Walt.
Certainly a pleasure, sir.
Moving through now into Building Y. Building Y? Why not? How you doing, Joe?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
That's the way. Great. Look at this car here. 1969 Roadrunner, 446 pack car. Need we say more? They're really featuring here in Building Y this year, and I bet you feel pretty proud to be part of that, Joe.
I'm very honored, Fletch, very honored that the car got selected to be in this building. So,
now, this car goes back a long way with you, right?
Yes, I've owned it almost 33 years to the day, Fletch. So, since I've had it a long time, it's a dear old friend.
I love hearing that. I mean, I love to hear the emotional value that we have on our cars. This being such one of status too. I mean, the 4 hood pins, elevated hood, the 6-pack carb, the 440, the colour. What is the colour?
The color is Bahama yellow, Fletch. It's a special order mid-year color that they came out with a car, a high impact color.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better than baby poo, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yeah. You know, it's one of those colors, Fletch, you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between,
I think with these Roadrunners, with the decal there on the side of the door of the Roadrunner, there's something about this colour. I mean, I think this colour is very synonymous with the car.
It is. It's pretty much standard, Fletch. It's like most of these cars that were built this color are A12 446 spec cars.
Everyone that watches Classic Restos knows that I like my steel wheels. And here again, we've got these 15-inch black steel wheels highlighted by the red wall tyre. They just look something, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they really do, Fletch. It's the way they came from the factory. So, I think it was one of the only cars ever built by any American company that didn't come with hubcaps or some kind of wheel on them. So
talk about like El Cheapo to save a buck, but all the budget went into the performance, and that's where they really did well.
Exactly, Fletch.
You must be how do you feel? I mean, all these years looking at this car in your garage or your barn, and now you've got it. I mean, it must be just quite surreal for you.
It is. It's Fletch. It's just like I pinch myself, sit inside of it, and just look out and say, I cannot believe this is my car. It's the only car that I would want. If I would ever to sell it, which I wouldn't do, I'd want to buy another one. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense. It's just to me, it's like the top dog of all the muscle cars of American 60s.
That's right. It's not an investment because you're never going to sell it.
Exactly. So
Joe, it's a pleasure having you on today's show. It really is.
I appreciate it so much that I'm honored that you featured the car.
Just had to. I mean, I didn't even mention the interior. But before we go, look at the black interior. I mean, everywhere you look, no matter what angle we put the camera on this car, it's just 10 out of 10 all the way. Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you, Fletch. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. When it comes time for the best in classic vehicle, home and contents insurance, an opportunity to sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club, where you can list your car club or even search for a car club there. The Shannons Club really is your garage. Find out more when you visit them online at shannons.com.au or pick up the phone and give them a call for a quote on 134646. And the Penrite Technical Assistance Line is there to help you 7 days a week. Visit Penrite at penrite.com.au. You're watching 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, and you're seeing it first on Classic Restos. Back with more in just a moment. Moving through Building T. Of course, Building T, very significant. Lots of great stuff in Building T at every Carlisle event. This year's no exception. Hello, Danielle. How are you?
Hi, Fletch. How are you?
Good, thank you. You've got this glorious 1962 Chrysler, a 300 car.
Yes, I do.
You've got a fantastic story with it as well. Would you like to share it?
Sure. The car's been in my family for 52 years. My parents bought it brand new in 1961, December 28th. They got their new car, and it was fast. They ordered it with a 413 with a 3-speed manual, which is kind of rare. But my dad knew what he wanted, and my mom got to pick the color. And then they started racing, and a few engines and different trannies later, it made a little bit of history. When the Hemis came out in 64, my dad wanted to get his hands on one of those. He put the word out, and the Golden Commandos came up with a 426 drag Hemi. And they put that in there, and they worked out the ratios and everything, and they were running the torque flight. They put the automatic in there. It's the only transmission that would handle the Hemi. And they were running 11-second quarter miles with the car back in the day.
Now, Danielle, this year you've been especially invited here by Ed Bozeski because of a special reason. Being your father's car, your mother used to race it as well. Now, both your mother and father have passed, right?
My dad passed away in 1998 when they started the restoration. And then my mom looked at the car in the garage and decided it's not going to put itself together. So she did it, and it took her 14 years, mostly by herself, without the help of the internet, and she got the car to the state that it is today.
This is just so beautiful. I mean, just the family tradition, keeping this car. I mean, I know it's going to be with you for the rest of your life. It just must mean so much to you.
Well, it's always been in my life. My mom was 9 months pregnant racing this car. I was born the Tuesday following the Sunday she was at the drag strip, so I was almost born in it. And it's an honor and a pleasure to drive.
She could have had you halfway going down the chute.
Yeah,
I mean, pardon the pun.
That would have been a better story, but, whatever.
What I love about this car in its entirety, you've got the body, the colour, the beautiful interior. The engine, well, it's not matching numbers. Share with us what you've got happening there now, Danielle.
Well, the engine's a 440 that my dad had bored over 30 over. My mom kind of figured out everything she wanted in the car, with everything from the exhaust to the Borla mufflers to the crankshaft to the cam, all the stuff. She wanted this, she wanted that, and she wanted chrome here and chrome there, and that's what she did. It doesn't match, but it doesn't matter. It runs great, and it's an honor to own and drive it, and I'm very proud of my parents.
You know, it's beautiful to know this car came out with its 413, its max wedge. It's ended up all these years later with a 440, but as I said earlier, the car still remains with you. Danielle, thank you so much. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Fletch, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
My mother and father are very proud, and we're very proud to be here in Carlisle today.
Good on you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did that tug at the heartstrings or what? What an interview with Danielle. As we look around Building T, here's a little bit more of what you'll find at this year's 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. Every Mopar event has parts vendors. In fact, here there's room for 8,000 of them. So when it comes time for parts to suit your Mopar, have a go at this. Walking through the parts here at Carlisle, 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, wasn't that absolutely amazing? What you saw just a moment ago would lucky to have been 2%. It's absolutely amazing. We go from one amazing thing to this amazing guy. How are you, John?
Good, Fletch. How are you doing?
I'm great. We've got a lounge room car now, a 1960 DeSoto. What a machine. How long have you had it, John?
Since 95.
Why am I more excited about it than you are?
Well, I don't know. You're driving it and you just sort of blend in with it.
Look, it's all of 20 feet long or 6 metres to the digitally educated. It's an incredible car. I mean, we look at the fins out back, which start right in the centre of the driver and passenger door and just go all the way through. It's a stunning car in every respect. First of all, let's talk about the bright work on the car. How shiny is that? When you got the car, John, what condition was it in?
It was rough. It was very rough. It was rusty. It needed a lot of panel repairs and needed to be taken apart properly and done properly. 5 years of hard labor in it.
Yeah. Now, under the hood, what's going on there?
383 4-barrel.
Oh, 383 4-barrel, hey? Hey, a lot of drivers back in the day in 1960, they would have been seeing plenty of these tail lights, wouldn't they? Because they would have been behind you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, especially if you had the long ram in it.
Yeah. Absolutely, the options too. Absolutely amazing. The interior on this car, John, period correct for the day. Opulent with its stainless steel siding down the seats, in the rear area in the back section, more stainless steel. The dashboard around the driver's department there, DeSoto across the steering wheel. Everywhere you look, it's space age, isn't it?
It is. They really did do a lot of. Virgil Exner was the designer. Unbelievable things that they were all meant to look at, and they're actually a pleasure to drive as well. Everything's sparkling at you as you're driving, and you feel like you're just like, this is great that I have the opportunity to actually drive something so beautiful.
Now, when we look around the front of the car, the big front, it's got more front than Walmart.
Yeah, there's a lot of chrome in there. It hurts the pocketbook when you want to take the chrome to get it redone, which I did. Yeah. There's a lot of work. Just like I say, another beautiful design again. Like it's an all-around beautiful car, and it's rewarding when you actually know what it's going to look like before you put it together. Yeah. So if you do see one at a show and it's all done, it gives you that incentive, and you go, holy geez, I can't wait to get this thing back together. And
I've always said that. I think when you are about to undertake a resto, you've got to have the finished product pictured in your mind. You've got to have that vision. If you don't have that, you don't know where you're going to go. But on other things, just before we leave you, John, what's your thoughts on this year's event here for Chrysler?
It's a great show. It's warm. It's in the summer, and just everything's all great around you.
John,
Yeah, I love it.
and I've loved talking to you today, mate. It's great catching up with you. Love your car as well. Take care of it. Great to catch up.
Hey, thanks, Fletch. Thanks for giving me the interview. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And on next week's show of the Land Yacht, we'll see John pull into port and actually tie up. It's absolutely amazing to think that back in the day, these cars were built and in some cases took one business person to work. Absolutely incredible. You know, taking in any Carlisle event will blow your mind here at Carlisle Events. You can either take in a Ford, GM or Chrysler National event along with private car collections and touring around the museums. You can experience this in 2015 on a Fletch tour. And then it's a return in August to the Motown city of Detroit and its region, taking in the Woodward Dream Cruise. If you can picture yourself travelling to the United States of America on a Fletch tour in 2015, go to classicrestos.com.au and click on the Fletch Tours icon for more information. Back with more Mopars after this. Welcome back. Getting a bit hot here this afternoon. Fletch, you had to change the shirt. How are you, Jim?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Great, great. This is the first Challenger on the episodes of the Carlisle event here for Chrysler 2014 1970 Challenger, a stock car, beautiful car. What's the deal with it, Jim?
Well, it's a 1970. I bought it in 1976, so I had it 38 years now. It's got the stock 3 two-barrel carburetors called 6-pack on the 1970. Stock motor, it's a 340. That's a special block, a TA block. And basically everything is stock on the car. Fiberglass hood, no hood latch, hood pins, power brakes, power steering.
What's the colour over here?
It's called Plum Crazy.
Yep.
In Plymouth, it was in violet,
Yes.
and it was a popular color back in 1970.
Yes. That's the reason I asked that, just the colour difference in their names between Dodge and Plymouth. It's such a hot colour, the Plum Crazy, and dressed up there with the black decals as well. I mean, yeah, there's something tough about that.
Yeah, I like it, but I'm a little partial.
Yeah, and also biased.
Yes, I am.
Now, Jim, we have a look around the car. Being a 6-pack car too, that's legendary with the 340. I mean, they're a little screamer anyway. You put a 4-barrel carb on them and they scream. Happy with the 6-pack, like in terms of the tuning, like no flat spots, like you bring the power on, everything works nicely with the 6-pack?
No, I have a good mechanic, and he really did the 6-pack nice. He redid it for me, and the 6-pack opens just fine. You get a little kick in the back when it opens, and it's nice.
Now, Jim, the interior, synonymous with the Plum Crazy, and the most popular colour is black. Stunning condition as well.
Yes, well, it's also been redone, except for like the back seat, but it's new carpet, new front seats, which were ripped. The headline is original, visors are original, dashboard is original, never cracked.
Jim, one last comment. The only thing I can notice about this car is side pipes.
That's stock. That was from the factory. Yeah, the AAR CUDA and the TA Challenger was a 1-year only model to go Trans Am racing, and they had the side exit exhaust. Yeah.
How cool is that?
I liked it.
Jim, great catching up with you here this afternoon. It's been wonderful. Look, I love your car. We could talk about it for ages. Thanks very much, Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Fletch. I appreciate it.
Moving through the fairgrounds now, we have Steve. What a way to end today's episode with a 68 Charger. How are you, Steve?
Good, nice to meet you, Fletch.
Absolutely. This is the big daddy of the Dodgers, hey? What a cool shape this is. I didn't think that these two episodes would be quite the same without one of these 68 Chargers. It's a beautiful car. How long have you had it?
About 27 years. I got it soon after I graduated high school, 1987.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it another situation? These kids graduate from high school and they get a 68 Charger. I mean, 27 years ago, do you mind me asking, how much did you pay for it?
About $3,500, and I had to negotiate the $500.
Yeah, it's almost depressing, isn't it? What I love about this particular car, Steve, I love the steel wheels. I mean, I know a lot of cars run the Magnums and you'll see them with Kragers and what have you, but I love that steel wheel look. It represents an era. It's an element of toughness. There's a lot to be said for the simplicity of that wheel.
Oh, yeah. I have the original Chrome Magnums that came with the car, but for road trips and the simplicity, I love the steel wheel look with the dog dish hubcaps.
Yeah.
Rides much nicer on the radials.
That's it. And without sounding sooky, too, they're easy to keep clean.
Oh, yeah. Very simple.
Run the sponge around in the chamois and you're done. Okay, what sort of colour are we looking at of the car here, Steve?
This is a MM1 turbine bronze metallic. As far as I know, it was offered in 67 and 68 only.
Yeah. And the glorious black interior as well. I mean, that's beautiful too.
Oh yeah, my good friend helped me with doing a total restoration of recovering it with new covers.
Now, the 440 up front, 375 horsepower standard, single 4-barrel carb. What have you done to the engine there?
Well, recently, within the last 5 years, I took everything out of the engine bay to take the engine down to a short block, replace everything I possibly could to freshen up, make sure it would run perfect. And it's been that way ever since, and everything is totally original.
Wow. Interesting, back in the day too, with a manual car, you got the A8334 4-speed and a 411 rear gear. If you got a Torque Flight 727, you got 323 diff ratio in back. What have you got?
I have the standard Torque Flight with the 323 shore grip.
Well, there you go. So you got a bit of best there, both worlds, not bad off the line and cruising on the highway.
Absolutely, it's fun all the way around.
Steve, thanks for being on today's show. You're our last interview on the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. It's gone out with a bang, a 68 Charger. Things didn't get much better than that. He's a heck of a nice guy as well, and I really appreciate it, Steve.
Very nice to meet you, Fletch.
So ends another Carlisle Chrysler Nationals. 2014 was an incredible event. It represented and stood for just so much. 100 years of Dodge, 50 years of the 426 Hemi, 50 years of the Barracuda, and 40 years of Carlisle Events. The people here in Carlisle make the event. The cars are a bonus. The strength of camaraderie over 3 massive days reflects the success of the largest Mopar event in the world, driven by the Carlisle event managers, the staff, and of course Lance and Bill Miller. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed the last 2 episodes of the 2014 Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, exclusive to Classic Restos. I'm sure you'll agree that Carlisle Events really does stand for the cars, the people, and the excitement. Don't forget, classicrestos.com.au is the website that you need for the DVD boxed sets of the show, Classic Restos merchandise, finding out information on joining us in 2015 on a Fletch tour, and of course contacting the major sponsors as well. As I say at the end of every show, no matter where you're watching from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, signing off from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, United States of America, and I thank you very much for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, where you can sign up for the Shannons Club, and Penrite Oil, offering technical assistance 7 days a week.